In 1949, George Orwell's novel 1984 was published, which became one of the most exemplary in the dystopian genre. It describes a future in which people are controlled through surveillance and propaganda.
With the ability not only to recognize faces at a distance, but gait itself when facial features are hidden or obscured. Such capability can and will soon be augmented to the point where the movement of eyes themselves, monitored by high-resolution and intelligent cameras, will soon be sufficient to identify any aware and active party.
The vision that George Orwell saw is very much like what's described in Islamic eschatology, when the Antichrist rules the world with the system of Dajjal, the system of great deception. And some of the things in this book have really come to life. We see it today in our daily lives. In this novel, George Orwell describes something called telecranes, large televisions that stand in homes and public places. They transmit the messages of the government, and through them the citizens are monitored by the thought police. Telecranes are able to recognize people and their facial expressions. In our life, there are no telecranes in this form, but there are their analogues. Have you ever thought of something and seen an advert for it on TV or on your smartphone? That's because your smart devices are constantly listening to you. I'll give you an example. Modern smart TVs recognize speech. That is, they eavesdrop on their owners and transmit their personal data to large companies. Of course, all these technologies benefit us, simplify our lives, and automate tasks. But in doing so, both our personal data and ethical standards are at risk. Because in the dystopian realm governed by the deceitful reign of the Antichrist, Dajjal, even the sanctuary of your own home offers no respite. Your latest Apple device or Samsung will morph into vigilant sentinels, surveilling your every move, leaving no corner untouched by the pervasive gaze of the one-eyed regime. This novel describes a versifier device that creates music and literature without human intervention. In fact, it's artificial intelligence. Recently, works created by machines have also begun to appear in reality. This is a step towards having machines think for us, where men and women don't think. I can't shake off the memory of Sheikh Imran Hussein's talks. Sheikh Imran Hussein, a very famous Islamic eschatologist, he says, in the world ruled by Dajjal, the Antichrist, people will stop thinking for themselves. You see friends, the Antichrist will be a programmed individual, a puppet, with a mission to replicate itself. In this world where humans lose the ability to think freely, they'll become mere vessels for programmed agendas to take control of their minds and bodies.
Live from London, this is BBC News.
In George Orwell's book, politicians create newspeak, a new language to control people's thoughts. It retained the general rules of English grammar, but removed the negative words to minimize thought crimes, thoughts that didn't conform to the ruling party's ideology. For example, instead of the word bad, they say not good. The bottom line is that newspeak is similar to, but different enough to direct thoughts in the right way. And it's already being used by those who control Western media. In all the weeks of Israel's aggressive genocide and besiegement of Gaza, major news corporations have continued to set new standards in deception. They use terms like precision weapons. Now that refers to weapons which can conduct targeted attacks. However, it downplays the destruction or loss of civilian lives in Gaza. The Israelis, along with the media, use words like buffer zone, referring to separation barriers built by Israel in the occupied Palestinian territories. While they present it as a defensive measure against so-called terrorism, in reality, these buffer zones contribute to the annexation of Palestinian land and the restriction of movement. This sort of language is used in order to downplay what's happening in Palestine, so people don't complain and the leaders in the West continue with their distortion and deception.
It's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words.
Sugar, 2.4%.
You won't have seen the dictionary, 10th edition yet, Smith?
7.5%.
It's that thick.
Coffee, 8%.
The 11th edition will be that thick.
Bread, 7%. Overall,
Well, the revolution will be complete when the language is perfect.
The secret is to move from translation to direct thought to automatic response. No need for self-discipline. Language coming from here, not from here.
Excuse me for intruding, but what you're saying is that we should be rid of the last vestiges of Goldsteinism when the language has been cleaned. I couldn't be more in agreement with you, brother.
Absolutely.
You see folks, language is powerful, and when the Antichrist Dajjal finally appears in human form, it is through language that great lies and propaganda will spread. Dajjal the Antichrist will conceal his evil from the people by lying to them, deceiving them and confusing them. Newspeak is that language which is used to deliberately confuse and lie to the people. In Orwell's future, there will only be 3 states left: Oceania, Eurasia and East Asia. At any given time, 2 of them are at war with each other. Wars go on non-stop, but as soon as a new one flares up, everyone forgets about the previous one. Battles usually take place in disputed territories, and the world is constantly in a state of instability. It sounds quite similar to the description of the real situation in our modern world. In eschatology, it's also said before the Antichrist, Dajjal makes his ominous entrance onto the world stage. Whispers of conflict echo across lands, as well as wars start in disputed territories. Islamic and Christian prophecies converge on the concept of Armageddon, a climactic showdown heralding the end of days. Some scholars envision Armageddon as a singular cataclysmic event, while others foresee a harrowing series of wars unfurling under the shadowy reign of the Antichrist Dajjal, casting the world into chaos and despair. My dear friends, whatever the future holds, let it be known that this video was not crafted to sow seeds of fear and panic, but rather for the purpose of enlightenment and understanding. Our foremost step is to release ourselves from the shackles of fear, for we are the cherished creations of a mighty and merciful God. And ultimately, it's the eternal truth that shall triumph over deception, and the radiant light that shall dispel the shadows of darkness. I leave you with some final words from George Orwell himself. Thanks for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic. Assalamu alaikum, have a wonderful night.
Something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.